Good morning to everybody. I hope you and your families are all well, thinking of the current circumstances with the COVID pandemic. I would like to welcome you all in the online workshop flagship projects on coastal and maritime tourism, maritime transports, fishery and aquaculture, digitalization, that's organized by DG MARE, BSEC PERMIS and ICBSS, with the aim to identify opportunities for potential flagship projects in the region. Let me start quickly with a few instructions of the webinar. It is structured in 4 sessions where speakers will be invited to present in 5 minutes their projects. There will be a Q&A session where the audience will be invited to submit questions only in writing using the Q&A function, which is at the bottom of the Zoom screen. In the end of each session, we will try to respond as many of the questions as possible. But do not hesitate to ask and make your questions, as is a very good evidence for our purpose. During the meeting, please, I know that you will have muted your microphone to avoid background noises. The meeting will be recorded and will be available with the presentations the following days on the organizer's website. So let's start now. Following the first online workshop that opened the discussion about the first impacts of the COVID-19 outbreak on key sectors of blue economy in the Black Sea region that were held in June 2020, this workshop will offer an opportunity for initial brainstorming and brainstorming on gaps and opportunities emerging from the results, the best practices and lessons learned of projects with a regional dimension were developed in the Black Sea region. The objective is to identify useful elements for future discussions on potential flagship projects that take into due consideration the existing and build on that, as well as new scenarios and challenges imposed by the pandemic. At this point, I would like to say a very few words on the Common Maritime Agenda for the Black Sea in order to briefly provide you with a framework that we are working in the region. The Common Maritime Agenda for the Black Sea is a sea basin initiative that aims at supporting regional cooperation for a more sustainable blue economy in the Black Sea, and it is developed in the broader framework of the Black Sea strategy. Bulgaria, Georgia, Moldova, Romania, Russia, Turkey, and Ukraine are the participating countries. The Common Maritime Agenda is a unique framework of regional cooperation on the blue economy and was endorsed in May of 2019 at ministerial level. It sets 3 goals. First, the healthy marine ecosystems, the innovative blue economy and the investment, and has 10 priorities that further declined into actions. The Commission, through DG MARE, accompanies the process as full member of the steering group, where the 7 countries are represented, while the political coordination is also ensured by ministerial meetings. The Common Maritime Agenda has recently launched its implementation, and the 3rd Common Maritime Agenda steering group will take place in a week's time, and that's why we are taking at this moment this webinar in order to benefit from today's discussion. So what we want to achieve today? We want to discuss, to collect data, results, and best practices that this will feed, as I said, the discussion of the 3rd Common Maritime Agenda steering group and will trigger the countries for future discussions of flagship projects. It's better to stop now from my side, as I have the honor to introduce Ms. Isabelle Viallon from DG MARE, Deputy Head of Unit A3 on Sea Basin Strategies. She will provide the framework and why Common Maritime Agenda is essential for the flagship project. Ms. Viallon, please, your floor is yours.
Good morning, Thanos, and good morning, everybody. I'm very pleased to be there with you this morning. I think you already pretty clearly set the scene for this meeting today. I would like to really thank all the organizers for this meeting, especially BSEC. It's very important for us to have this second webinar with BSEC. I mean, we had the first one discussing about the impact of COVID. Now we have to go next step. I mean, following the instructions of the steering committee of the Common Maritime Agenda that invited us to look at possible flagships that could support recovery in the most affected sectors of blue economy. It's difficult to assess all the socioeconomic impact of the crisis yet, because the crisis is not yet finished. So, but still, following the first webinar, we identified that, I mean, there are sectors that are particularly affected, such as the coastal and maritime tourism sector, maritime transport, fisheries, and aquaculture. And these are the three sectors that will be the object of the three first thematic sessions today. We know that the national governments have been very active over the last few months to adopt emergency measures to reduce the impact of the crisis. At EU level also, the response has been quite impressive with the adoption of the EU Next Generation package, and also the proposal for this Team Europe initiative to support our partners around the world. We think that the Common Maritime Agenda provides a unique framework for cooperation in the Black Sea, and we really are happy to have all those different discussions together, because we think it's very important to identify common orientation and possible solutions to reduce the impact of the COVID crisis in the region. So the development of those regional flagships are essential for thinking about medium and long-term solutions. In the Commission, I mean, we see the crisis as a unique opportunity to reset and adopt a new approach based on sustainability and resilience business models. The Commission called for a twin transition towards both sustainability and digitalization. So I am happy to see that the fourth workshop today will discuss this issue of digitalization, to see a bit how this can play a pivotal cross-cutting role to support more sustainable blue economy. What is also important to have in mind today is also the challenge of fund alignments. We need to mobilize funding at all levels, multilateral, regional, national, private sector, and so on. And this is the right moment, because you know that the EU is starting the preparation of a new programming exercise for the years 21-27. So we have to think collectively how to make the best use of available funding in the coming years. This issue of alignment goes also with how to strengthen synergies with research and innovation. You know that we have this important initiative, the Black Sea Research and Innovation Agenda, that is already supported by a project called the Black Sea Connect. And I think it will be important when we discuss about the flagships to make the link with initiatives coming from the research side. The Common Maritime Agenda for us is a bottom-up process. So I think it's very important that we involve all actors and that we learn from best practice, that we identify gaps and so on. So this first webinar today is really helpful in doing this first tour de table to see what has been done, what could be done in the future. By the end of November, the Common Maritime Agenda will also organize an annual stakeholder event. That will be another major moment where we can listen from the different stakeholders, policy actors, public authorities, academia, business sector, and civil society. So there is today's meeting is just the starting point. We will have other occasions in the coming weeks, months to discuss, but I think it's very important that we have this first discussion all together and that we learn from what has been done and could be done in the Black Sea. I would like to conclude by thanking all the speakers that will present their project, colleagues from the European Maritime Safety Agency, colleagues from the Mediterranean that will also share their experience in this neighboring sea. So I hope we will have a fruitful discussion. I count on all of you, and I wish you a good work. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Biaillon. Thank you very much that you described what are the upcoming steps for further improvement and regarding the annual stakeholder events that are in the process of our achievement that we would like to achieve. As said, the workshop is organized around 4 thematic sessions, during which project representatives are called to briefly present the project, to facilitate the following discussion, involving also the audience, and to finally identify some joint conclusions. The thematic sessions will include projects also from other sea basins in order to stimulate the exchange of experience on the same topic. We will start the first session on coastal and maritime tourism. As mentioned from the beginning, feel free to submit your questions even during the presentations, and we will come back to them in the Q&A session. I want here to highlight the fact, as I said before, that all questions could become an important evidence for us, so feel free to submit any question relevant to the discussed sectors. So, first speaker is Ms. Florentina Caramitru from Constanta County Council in Romania, that will present us the project Treasure, Joint Cultural Heritage Source for Development of Entrepreneurship in the Black Sea Basin. Ms. Caramitru, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Florentina Caramitru. I'm representing Constanta County Council as Project Treasure, acronym Project Treasure, BSB 371. About the project, our partners are, of course, Constanta County Council as lead partner, Bulgarian Association for Transfer of Technology and Innovation from Varna, Bulgaria, district government of Enes, it's Edirne area of Turkey, and Ungheni District Council from Republic of Moldova. The duration of the project is from 2018, from 17th of September until 2021, 17th of April. General objectives of and aims of the project. Our biggest goal is to raise the level of touristic attractiveness of the areas involving the project partnership, which will lead to growing business and entrepreneurship actions with the ultimate aim of improving the well-being of people within the Black Sea area. If tourism grows, if the area becomes more attractive, tour operators, transport agencies, museums, restaurants, hotels, and all this kind of organization will be supported. On third slide, I presented the key results and next steps of the project. Main results are, through exciting diving and marine prospection activities, the bottom of Black Sea will reveal its heritage in Constanta and Varna. 3D holograms of the most important and interesting underwater spots, which will be displayed in Varna and Constanta museums. The interest for this object is high. These items are not easy to be accessed. Therefore, it is exciting to visit them by diving or by visualize them in a form of a hologram. The purpose is to encourage people to explore the sea and to get to know local heritage. In Enes, copies of ancient artifacts were placed in the exactly same spots where they once were found, forming an underwater museum. Images and footages of the bottom of the sea will be taken with special equipment such as a ROV, remotely operated vehicle, and sonars, and the collected data will be used to create digital maps and of underwater heritage in Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. The digital maps will be available for free on the common website of the project, which is displayed on the document. In Ungheni, a touristic center is open where tourists can learn about the main points of attraction of the area. In the same time, 20 people have been trained as touristic guides. Also, a movie and a digital atlas will be published with beautiful and meaningful places in touristic areas. The last presentation page, challenge. Well, the idea itself of promoting underwater cultural heritage was a challenge for all involved partners. Also, another challenge was to find proper human resources for performing foreseen activities such as diving, operating specialized equipment, the ROV and the sonars, or organizing diving courses. The implementation period. A good communication among partners is the key for a successful partnership. Only through joint efforts, key results can be properly promoted, ensuring a strong visibility of our common values. And also, cooperation is the best way for achieving a sustainable and lasting development of Black Sea area. Opportunities, especially during these times of COVID crisis, IT and innovative tools, common understanding between the Black Sea stakeholders could be the key. Taking into consideration the actual international health crisis, the upcoming projects will have to be focused more on introducing better technologies for dealing with pandemic and other various crises. Thank you for your attention, and I hope I'll see you again on your presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Florentina. Now I would like to pass the floor to Ms. Atanasova from Sozopol municipality, presenting the project Culture BSB, Development of Sustainable Cultural Tourism in the Black Sea Basin. Please.
Good day to all the participants on today's workshop. My name is Petya Tanasova. I'm project manager of the project Development of Sustainable Cultural Tourism in the Black Sea Basin and the senior specialist of the project management department at Sozopol municipality, Bulgaria. On behalf of Sozopol municipality and all the project partners, I wish to express our gratitude for the opportunity to share the achieved results, good practices, and the learned lessons. Our project is implemented under grant contract 100708 from the 5th of September 2018. It's funded under Joint Operational Program Black Sea Basin 2014-2020, co-financed by the European Union through the European Neighborhood Instrument and by the participating countries Armenia, Bulgaria, Georgia, Greece, Republic of Moldova, Romania, Turkey, and Ukraine. The project consortium covers wide territory of the Black Sea Basin region, consisting of 5 countries with the administrative centers, Sozopol, Bulgaria, Constanta, Romania, Tbilisi, Georgia, Izmail, Ukraine, and Düzce, Turkey. These regions have common resources and they are characterized with favorable climate and outstanding natural, historical, and cultural resources. The general objectives of the project is the joint development and promotion of the cross-border business opportunities in the tourism sector, and with the emphasis of the cultural segment of the market within the Black Sea Basin. The project specific objectives are improved cooperation between the countries in the Black Sea and enhanced exchange of knowledge and communication between all relevant stakeholders in the tourism sector, building cross-border business opportunities in the cultural tourism within the Black Sea Basin, and enhance attractiveness of tourism sector through small-scale investment in the Black Sea Basin region and through the use of new technologies and interactive tools for promotion group of activities. The project duration is 29 months. It started on 11th of September 2018. And it's going to last until 10th of February 2021. The budget is 957,792 euros and 24 cents. The project activities, they're grouped in 8 work packages and bring wide results in relationship with the project objectives. For the purpose of today's workshop, I will focus on the opportunities emerging from those results that are related thematic of this session. The main opportunities that emerge from project results and best practices includes development of 15 cross-border tourism routes that include cultural sites on the territory of between 2 and 5 partner countries. This is based on detailed analysis of existing tourism sites at the country level project. Partners will prepare 15 cross-border tourism routes that include cultural sites on the territory of between 2 and 5 partner countries. The routes will tie up several attractions and presents new sites and features of the destinations to its visitors. The generated synergy effect will have a greater pulling power, and it also disperses visitors' money among a larger number of recipients. The cross-border tourism routes will stimulate sustainable economic and business growth, as well as greater business cooperation. This will have positive impact on building prosperity and competitiveness of region, higher level of employment and income in the partner countries and in all over Black Sea area. Development and specialized interactive platform for the cross-border tourism promotion. The platform will promote tourism sector and strengthen the tourism infrastructure in the Black Sea Basin region through freely accessible interactive web-based platform for tourism promotion for consumers as well as the tourism industry. The platform will be interactive and significant improvement on existing travel websites. It will provide tourists with a customized, unique and enriching travel experience. Today, we are facing an unprecedented global health and socio-economic emergency with the COVID-19 pandemic. Tourism is among most affected sectors, with airplanes on the ground, hotels closed, and travel restrictions put in place in virtually all around the world. The current pandemic has brought forth unprecedented and unpredictable change that presents new challenges for the tourism industry. But with the new challenges comes new opportunities. The tourism sector needs to seize the occasion to change for the better, to aim for more sustainable ways for tourism and travel. While our project was designed in the mid of 2017, its results, while still in progress, they will play an important role in the tourism recovery in partner countries in the post-COVID-19 era. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Ms. Petrea. Last speaker, although not from the region, but representing one flagship project of the Mediterranean Sea Basin, Mr. Montanari from Emilia-Romagna region, presenting the Co-Evolve project. Roberto, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thanos. I'm Roberto Montanari from Emilia-Romagna region. Sorry, I miss my, yes, here. Okay. I want to thank DG MARE for this kind invitation to the workshop, bringing the experience of the Co-Evolve project. Co-Evolve was a project financed by the Interreg Med program 1420 within the specific objective 3.1 on the development of sustainable coastal and maritime tourism. In the project were involved 12 partners for 5 countries, from 5 countries, and working on 7 pilot areas in the several regions with different situation and local characteristics. The project ended in October 2019, and with a total budget of 3 million euros we worked on. The general objectives of the project was the analysis of threats and enabling factors for sustainable tourism in the Mediterranean, considering the threats, all that pressures that the natural system and the climate change is giving on the morphological stability and on the risks on the coastal and maritime areas. All the pressures concerning the human activities on the coastal and maritime areas, and the conflicts between the different uses of the land sea uses and their interactions within the human activities themselves. Enabling factors considered as all the actions, policies, measures that are put in place to contrast these threats on the coastal and maritime areas. Then the aim was also the defining and quantifying the tourism sustainability in the Mediterranean, and then last but not least, developing MSP-based actions plan for sustainable tourism development in the pilot areas, and transfer these methods and results at the Mediterranean scale. Which are the main results? You can find in more in-depth details on the results on the website to these links, in particular on the deliverable library. In 3 phases, the project was developed. We got tourism sustainability toolkit based on a ETS system of indicators, tourism driving strategic planning on pilot areas, what was guidelines for the planning, and a synthesis of threats and enabling factors analysis on the Mediterranean scale and also on the pilot area scales involved in the project. In the testing phase, we got pilot actions in the several pilot areas that in most of cases brought to the action plans for development of sustainable tourism in those areas. And then for the transferring phase, we got the transferability plan of results at pilot area scale. So at regional scale, cross-border scale, and also a transferability plan of results on the whole Mediterranean area scale. What was the challenge met and the further step that we are working still now after the end of the project? There is we got a model and the methodology for coastal and maritime tourism sustainability analysis. We set up and apply guidelines for the sustainable tourism driving strategic planning in the coastal areas. We got good participation of stakeholders and local communities in decision-making and planning process for the action plans in the pilot areas. And we got the transferring of this experience in the Mediterranean scales, starting from the plan did in the project, and starting now and also during the project life, also other project initiatives. This was done thanks to the frame in which the CoEvolve project was born, that is the Bologna Charter initiative, acknowledged by the Interreg-Med program and the West-Med initiative. We started a project initiative with the Union for the Mediterranean labeled project MedCoast for Blue Growth, started in December 2017, just during the project. And the ENI CBC Med project CoEvolve for Blue Growth started in September 2019, applying the same methodology of CoEvolve in other Tunisian, Lebanese, and other pilot areas in the Mediterranean. Then the methodology of CoEvolve is also considered in 2 projects initiative, BestMed and SmartMed, in the Interreg-Med Axis 4 on coastal and maritime tourism. The initiative, the CoEvolve, contributed also to the Panoramed governance platform of a Med program, and contributed also to the start of the EcoMed Port Blue Med Startup Action that is concluded just in this last months on the application of a technology tested in a port, in a pilot area of the CoEvolve. And the partnership keeps promoting also in this period results and methodology of CoEvolve through different means and initiatives all around the Mediterranean. Thanks also to the Commission, to the CRPM and the Inter-Mediterranean Commission. What we learned about this experience that, of course, it is, and we have some problem in some case. It is important to have available and organized data at local level, also historical sets suitable for tourism sustainability analysis, to use the toolkit indicators, to use the toolkit of CoEvolve, that could be obviously customized, but we need, it is needed a good database for implement it and for monitoring the effect of the action afterward. And then also that to have participative process successful for the co-design and share of planning, it is needed a very strong commitment of public competent bodies like regions, counties, municipalities, national agencies, and so on. Which are the opportunities that we see coming from CoEvolve for the cooperation in Black Sea. One could be the test and the applicability of CoEvolve model and tools for tourism and sustainability analysis. Then define a shared overall strategy, a charter, a memorandum of understanding that can prepare a shared framework, cooperation, development, common and integrated projects and fundraising in the Black Sea. Promote analysis application along with the CoEvolve tools in the coastal and maritime tourism in particularly located areas, and promote local projects in the frame of the overall strategies, considering protection and valorization of the coastal territory and environment, diversification of the coastal and maritime tourist offer, inclusivity, valorization of local communities, participation and engagement, and sustainability, obviously, both social, environmental, economic on the coastal and maritime touristic offers. Thank you for the attention. Maybe I have got some seconds more than 5 minutes.
Problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for presenting the CoEvolve project, which is a project very well known in the Mediterranean region. Now, before going to the Q&A, I would like to ask from my side, the speakers, based on their presentations, how do you see the key results of your project that should evolve in the future in the context of the pandemic, and to relaunch a new model of sustainable coastal maritime tourism? Please, let's start. Take you the floor. How do you prefer, Ms. Caramitru?
Can I just to break the ice?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
I think it's a matter of fact that the pandemic strongly reduced touristic fluxes and relative pressures in on the most relevant and not only destination for coastal and maritime tourism, but this critical situation for the sector in this year and probably also in the next one will be more or less the same. Mm-hmm. Till the pandemic will be not resolved. This experience should be taken as an opportunity to rethink models and approach to tourism offer towards the sustainability approach, because always in the crisis moment it is the right moment. The crisis moment is the right moment to think and to relaunch for the future. And I think that CoEvolve methodology can help in this direction. It can give some railways to approach the sustainability taking into account different opportunities. I saw two very interesting things in the presentation before. The cultural approach, cultural heritage, and also the diving, the virtual diving and the museum of the bottom of the sea. That could be two interesting things for divers.
Definitely. Discussing on that and the relevance of ICZM and MSP, which is indeed quite relevant for coastal and maritime tourism. And therefore, as we said, could help supporting the cultural heritage tourism. And how do you think now, based on the pandemic, that you can collect data and have successful participative processes for the planning? Can you say a few words on that now with the pandemic?
Also me? Always me?
Just because it's the relation with ICZM.
Yes. Okay. I think that digitalization is a key factor. In this period, we did still continue with our activities, also taking into account to develop a participative process for the policy formulation in the territory. So we experienced new tools for the involvement of stakeholders that are very efficient, that can help us to interact with our stakeholders. Then this is one thing. The other thing of digitalization is a key factor also for the
That's why later on
and data management and analysis.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Thank you very much. Now I would like to ask Ms. Caramitru and Ms. Athanasiou, actually a question coming from CPMR. The interesting presentations were very relevant, and we would like to ask how your projects are planning to share their lessons learned with stakeholders from other sea basins around Europe, and is participation in partnerships with a wider geographical coverage among your objectives?
This is a pilot. Our project is a pilot. Hopefully, until the end of the project, we will succeed in achieving all our goals. We will try. Well, it will be nice to have more countries involved in this project. Definitely will be very nice. I don't know if this will be a second. We will have a second part of the project. All of our results will be available on our website of the project. Not all the partners finished their activities because of the pandemic situation. Not everybody succeeded.
Can't hear you very well.
Going out on the sea and actually diving, do the diving activities, and also do you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
No.
Doing their activities, it's a matter of type of processing all these images and data collected by the ROV and the sonar, and another time will take for the specialists to transform this data in holograms and also in a digital map. Everything. Well, we even without knowing the pandemic situation, we kind of thought of this digitalization subject. We kind of
we see how important is the digitalization and how this could be combined with tourism.
And we thought that not everybody will be able to dive to see these spots. So we thought of transforming them in digital images and 3D holograms.
Thank you. Ms. Athanasiou?
Thank you.
We're making an online platform, and when it's fully completed, we will share this platform with the European Union, with all the participants in the Black Sea Basin project, and we'll try to share our results with everyone who is interested in that. But the platform is still on progress.
Okay, so we very much see the link between tourism, digitalization, and MSP and ICZM, which we will keep in mind also for later on during the wrap-up. Okay, now I would like to go to the next session on maritime transport. First of all, I would like to welcome Mr. Russo, project officer at EMSA, that will present as the Black and Caspian Sea project, a project that aims to improve maritime safety and security and prevent marine pollution in the region. Please, Mr. Russo, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me see if I see sharing my screen. I hope you can see the screen now. It's fine?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. So, first of all, good morning to everyone again, and thank you for the opportunity to share some information on what EMSA is doing in the region through the so-called Black and Caspian Sea project. We have a very limited time available, so let me go straight to the point. The project has 8 beneficiaries. 50% of them, 4 are from the Black Sea: Georgia, Moldova, Turkey, and Ukraine. The project has an initial duration of 4 years, funded with 4 million euro by DG MARE. It has been recently extended until the end of 2021, bringing the overall duration to almost 5 years, 4-11. That was very welcomed by the beneficiary and by ourselves, because taking into consideration the pandemic, we have been given the opportunity to reschedule a bit the events. We are almost stopped since February, March this year. Going more in depth in the project, I could say that it has 8 different components, looking at maritime safety from all points of view, addressing what are the usual responsibility for the maritime states, which are responsibility as flag state, responsibility as coastal state, responsibility as port state. The general objective of the project is enhancing the capacity of the states to implement international and EU maritime safety standards, also aligning them as much as possible to the standards of the European member states. How we try to achieve this goal? First of all, we have been visiting the beneficiary countries, cooperating with them to identify existing gaps. Many technical needs were identified. Most of them can be easily addressed. However, there are some structural gaps that is difficult to address, and they are common in almost all beneficiaries. When we discuss about lack of adequate financial and human resources, lack of maritime expertise, this is something that makes very extremely difficult to have a structured and consistent approach to the maritime safety issues, and particularly to the implementation of the international conventions and EU maritime legislation. in some countries we have found they are party to some international conventions, but since 10, 15, 20 years, but they have never transposed the conventions into their national legislation. So can be considered a bit of nonsense, and we would like through the project to give a concrete help to these countries to solve this this problem. Going more in depth, we have supported all of them to prepare and follow up the audit by IMO. That is was a very interesting experience, also to learn more about the beneficiary and also for themselves to learn about themselves. The IMO audit is the one that the International Maritime Organization carry out on all its members to establish if they properly implemented the International Maritime Convention. We were there, so we learned about all that is needed in the countries, and we are helping them to follow up the audit, so to implement the corrective action plan. Most of this consists in drafting national implementing procedures. Very often there are no national procedures that are needed. The conventions are always very general, and you need to go in depth at the national level and specify how to want to address some specific topics. And we are drafting for them, giving the final products ready for the adoption. We are supporting a lot the cooperation at the regional level and with EU member states. We are providing tools and services. I want to bring a couple of examples of concrete actions that we are doing. As I said, we are drafting national implementing procedures. We are planning also to draft the national legislation for them to transpose the convention. But when we go to tools and services, is something very interesting to hear. For instance, we are providing all the beneficiaries with CleanSeaNet services. CleanSeaNet is a satellite-based system to give to inform the states in almost real time of all oil spills in the area. Together with this information, we provide them with the satellite IS information, which is the ship's position in the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. As a second initiative, we launched a pilot project on sharing AIS information. It is a project composed of 3 phases. We are now at the second phase. During the first phase, we did an analysis of the national AIS networks in the countries. Where there was lack of equipment, the equipment was provided. Georgia and Ukraine, for instance, were provided with AIS stations. Then we brought the beneficiary countries as first phase to share the maritime traffic information between them. And as a second phase, recently started, we are still fine-tuning on that. All beneficiaries can share with EU member states participating in the SafetyNet regional server. It means that Bulgaria and Romania have the possibility, are already sharing the AIS information with Bulgaria, Romania, and the Black Sea, but also with Cyprus, Greece, Italy, Spain,
Mr.
France,
Russo,
Portugal,
1 more minute, please.
Okay, I'm almost there. You can easily understand that the added value of all this is the structured approach to the maritime safety that they are understanding in the beneficiaries. And this is for sure a means to ensure a safe and maritime transport, and as a consequence, protection of the marine environment. These are the main concepts that we would like to export. Some numbers, just to give an idea of what we are doing. Since the beginning of the project, February 2017, we have provided the countries with access to the MSI learning platform. We have created 369 users. So 369 staff from the beneficiaries can develop from professional point of view, accessing the e-learning tools and modules available in our platform. 194 users have been given access to rule check, having the possibility to consult both international and European legislation in the latest updated version. We have organized 38 training sessions with almost 700 participants. This, although we are blocked since the beginning of this year, we have implemented 26 technical activities, which means, as I said, drafting legislation, providing equipment, and things like that. We have provided 700 CleanSeaNet images with very often alerts on oil spills, enabling the country to react promptly to the pollution. That was all from my side, so I hope that I was able to stay within the 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Russo. And we see the importance of new technologies in safety and security and for the marine pollution in the region. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Bocci, a member of the assistance mechanism of the WestMed initiative, that he would like to say a few words on the established WestMed technical group on green shipping and green ports, which is a regional action towards the new Green Deal. Please, Matteo.
Thank you. Thank you, Thanos. Let me just, I think there's another presentation still open.
To share, and I'm a bit blocked here with. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Just 1 second. Sorry, I'm opening this one. Thank you very much to all. Really a pleasure to show what we are doing in the WestMed as an input. Hoping it will help discussion in the Black Sea. So I'm now sharing the presentation. Voila. You can see that, right? Okay, so yeah, a few words. Well, this is an activity that we promoted. Is not necessarily one project. It's really one high-level discussion to put forward a number of strategic projects. It might well end up in one larger project and the platform for pushing forward green shipping in the subsea basin. I've added end ports because, as you will see, there's a lot involvement of Port Authority and the project we're pushing are really involving ports a lot. Very briefly about the WestMed initiative. Well, it's basically one of the assistance mechanisms set up by DG MARE and with the support of EASME. Looks at the western side of the Mediterranean. You see a bit the activity that we put in the higher part of the slide. We support the project development, but also look at communication, the governance of the region, and funding opportunities, etc. And we work in this country: Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Malta, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and Mauritania, with the participation of Libya, but for obvious reason, not so active. And we have a website if you want to look better about the initiative and see, if there are interesting input for you to develop. The project that we have, we really set up a technical group with port authorities and sectoral actors, mainly ministries, but also other actors, really across all the countries. So it's a large group. By itself is a kind of it's a platform, and it's a valuable achievement that we had already. And we had 1 year to come with valuable and implementable action. And now we have an action plan, and after a few months, from early May to November, we believe to really come with a strong plan and look for financing the outcome of this discussion. So the general objective was to really develop a subsea basin alliance to boost sustainable fuel, like from moving from LNGs toward full sustainable really source of fuel, and contribute to the broader debate of the ECA, but also support and add value in the discussion of motorway of the sea and in the Western Mediterranean, with a focus on green shipping and ports, of course. For the main results, now we have identified a number of flagship projects that we can be supported. We look for a recommendation for also engagement at a more policy level, let's say, rather than political, how to really move forward the political statement and build upon the political statement at the regional level, but really focus on the subsea basin to move forward on technical projects and activities. And we have proposals for initiative to take to bring ahead. This could be clearly something that can be also discussed in the context of the Black Sea. That we know that green shipping and green port is relevant. Like my last slide for key concrete element of what we look at, we are developing across the whole port authorities and other actors a common vision at the technical level, really, which are the gaps, opportunities, challenges to put forward to boost the political achievement and the overall vision that already exists for the Mediterranean. We are discussing feasibility study to really understand how to maximize the investment toward fully renewable fuel. That's important because we look really at a subsea basin level, and there are a lot of specificity. I mean, geographical, geomorphical, but also in terms of shipping routes and ports dynamic. We have two pilot action. One very interesting, really like moving even the next step from green ports to energy communities. So the green ports become hub for production and consumption and distribution of renewable energy, like towards the sea, so for the use of green ships, but also inland in a way. So that's quite an ambitious visionary project that we are developing, and then we identify funding support for that. But also like on the kind of demand side, how to boost adaptation of renewable fuel for commercial vessels. Particularly, I think it's easier now to start for ferries, mainly in the south, where these are still controlled by local authorities, so it can be really implemented. And then look at capitalization action to harmonize local framework, practice in modeling schemes, even data monitoring that you touched upon in the previous question and answer. And so these all might become a package, might even become one single package of a big innovation platform to be put forward for under InterregMed. I think that's it basically. Thanks a lot, and keen to give you more details if you ask for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matteo. And I think it's very important what you mentioned, the possible transfer of knowledge, let's say, from one sea basin to the other sea basin. And also, it's very important to understand the role that ports can play on green shipping and green maritime transport. That's why at this moment, I would like just to open discussion with you. Which are, do you think that are the key actions, and I'm addressing both, to be addressed to support green maritime transport of the Black Sea? Because I understand from Matteo that we should focus a lot on the ports and create the energy communities, and also discussing about decarbonization and the renewable fuels, but please.
Prego, Dottor Russo. I think he's muted.
I have to unmute. Now it's done. Not easy to reply, and I try to look always from the perspective of EMSA and matters within. There is a lot to be done to make sure that all countries in the region becomes party to the MARPOL Convention, for instance, and they start a serious monitoring on national and foreign vessels. That is through the flag state and the port state activities. That is something that for sure has to be done, and there is a lot of work, particularly addressing the area that I said. We have countries with big fleets and implying a lot of work to be done, but really at the end they have 1, 2 staff and they cannot control anything. I think this is the basic to start for a safe and green maritime transport, which is automatically also green economy, etc., etc.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, Matteo.
Yeah, I mean, reinforcing what Russo just said, but I take a bit of an economic point of view, but with a strong social and environmental, impact approach. And it's kind of a market of energy applied to the transport and in a sea basin, in a specific. And I think that's important because at times, I think there's a tendency to see a blue economic activity in a vacuum, and that's why the assistance mechanism and the sea basin approach is so important. So if you look at the geographical unit of the sea, and there is a supply and demand of energy in the sector, and as just said, one element is obviously and clearly looking for a demand, improving the demand for safer, cleaner, and fully renewable energy, which is a lot to be done in terms of dealing with, shipbuilding, ship owners. It's a bit of a tough cookie because these are also, locally can be some small ones, but it's also big, particularly in the West Med, but also in the Black Sea, there might be big players on the demand side. But a lot can be and should be done on the supply side, which is also very challenging, but maybe easier to implement. I remember, because we've been involved in the Black Sea discussion, I remember one of the discussion we had in Romania 1 year ago or so. There was really a lot of interest and involvement by port authorities in pushing this concept. But I think it should really go, this idea of circular community, circular energy community is even almost the next step. And last but not least, sorry, been a bit long, but the governance. The sea basin geographical structure is also a political structure and a commercial structure. In this respect, the Black Sea is all like specific challenges, but governing the transition and having ambitious political agreement on where the sea basin as a coalition of
as a region,
government and different players will go. So there's three elements like supply, demand, and governance should really work together, and that's it.
Just a quick question also to Mr. Russo, maybe my misunderstanding. You mentioned before that you are working on national level, but do you have also a regional perspective behind?
Yes, sure. Sorry, I trying to put everything in 5 minutes. I missed some points. We work at 2 different levels. One of the examples of the regional level was the sharing of the information. That is something, in my opinion, very important. All countries sharing what they have available. They have a full picture of the maritime traffic in the Mediterranean and Black Sea. But it's not only this. We organize actions at regional level, not only with the countries, but we also involve very often experts from the EU member states to share best practice that at the same time enhance the standards in the beneficiaries, but also harmonize the way they act in the field of maritime safety with the way of the EU member states. Then we go also at bilateral level. When we have to draft legislation, we have to work country by country. There are specific needs, different language. So we address both aspects, regional, that is the main.
And you include also private?
To go really in depth to the point.
Yeah, and you include both public and private actors in the discussions, or we are dealing only with public?
We deal only with the public.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you both. It was really interesting. Now I would like to move to the next session on fisheries and aquaculture. In this session, we have 3 projects that will be presented, and I would like to start with Ms. Nasli Demirel, project coordinator of the Black Sea for Fish, a project that started in 2016 for the sustainable management of Black Sea fisheries, supporting the General Fisheries Commission for the Mediterranean. Please, Ms. Demirel.
Thank you. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
It's okay, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay, good day, dear colleagues. I am Nazlı Demirel from Istanbul, Turkey. and I currently act as a Black Sea for Fish project coordinator. First, I would like to thank BSEC for organizing this online workshop and give chance to present our project. So, briefly, Black Sea for Fish project is funded by MARE, and it has been started in 2016 to contribute to the sustainable management of Black Sea fisheries. And you know, almost all commercially exploited species are known to be a unit stock shared by Black Sea countries, and riparian countries are attempting to ensure sustainability in the exploitation of the stocks by various fishing regulations. And Black Sea for Fish project bridges gaps at a regional level and provides technical cooperation to support fisheries management by coordinating and supporting the implementation of the General Fisheries Commission for the Mediterranean, GFCM, midterm strategy towards the sustainability of the Black Sea fisheries. And under this vision, there are 5 main outputs are expected from Black Sea for Fish projects, and namely, those are to increase existing scientific knowledge to support fisheries management and reverse the current overexploitation of Black Sea stocks, and to enhance knowledge on small-scale and recreational fisheries, and to assess illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing, and to operate vessel monitoring systems, and to implement a bycatch monitoring program to reduce discard rates and incidental catch of vulnerable species, and to promote and disseminate the project results with relevant stakeholders, as well as strengthening the technical and institutional cooperation. So after consultation with experts and managers, and based on a combination of criteria, including socioeconomic importance and conservation concern, the GFCM agreed a list of Black Sea priority species. In this term, 8 species, anchovy, spread, horse mackerel, turbot, whiting, red mullet, pike dogfish, and rapo whelk were identified for which advice should be produced. And under this vision, I would like to mention about the key results of the Black Sea for Fish project last years. There are very valuable outcomes, organization of technical workshops on crucial stock assessment studies, realization of experimental surveys at sea following a general protocols, and several training opportunities to enhance the stock assessment knowledge, and generating the framework for bycatch monitoring program, and first initiative for identifying socioeconomic situation were achieved last years. Well, 2020 brings us hard times, and we had unpredictable escalation of the COVID-19 pandemic emergency all around the world. But during this period, we, Black Sea for Fish team, have worked as much as we could, and following the project aims, we organized 2 online seminars related to stock assessment and rapo whelk survey protocol. And to enhance scientific knowledge for Black Sea priority species, we have started an initiative to prepare a Black Sea scientific database. And one notable online meeting to identify data gaps and needs for priority stocks were achieved by participation of Black Sea stock experts and country coordinators. And finally, I'm very proud to mention launching first rapo whelk sea survey. Rapo whelk is a non-indigenous sea snail species that was first introduced Black Sea in 1940s via marine transportation activities from Pacific Ocean. And Rapana fisheries is very important in Black Sea now. Therefore, to gain more information on this species, a research program was established, and for the first time, Black Sea countries have been collaborating closely to establish a common protocol to conduct a comprehensive scientific sea survey. And last week, first team from Turkey finished their survey, and this week, Bulgaria, Romania, and Ukraine has been started, and the teams are working at sea now while we are doing this meeting. And about the further actions, Black Sea for Fish project will follow, of course, the past and the ongoing activities as technical assistance in Black Sea countries, according to the specific needs of the single countries or at a regional level. And those are including the enhancing knowledge on stock assessment methods, harmonized data collection frameworks, and standardized protocols. And for improving data quality towards accurate whole of Black Sea assessment, we are working on implementation of combined Black Sea surveys for priority species. And for a final word, enhancing cooperation among Black Sea countries is a primary aim of the project, along with all further actions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Demirel. Very interesting to hear about the assessment of the stocks and the database and the results of your project. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Konstantin Petrov, GFCM Sub-Regional Coordinator for the Black Sea. Mr. Petrov, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thanos, for giving me the floor. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm trying to share my presentation in the time. My name is Konstantin Petrov, and I'm the GFCM Sub-Regional Coordinator for the Black Sea. I would like first, before I start, to thank you to the organizers and the people involved in this webinar, so for giving me the opportunity and the possibility to be here with you and to discuss one of the maybe the most fragile and sensitive segment of fisheries, which is namely the small-scale fisheries, and one excellent initiative that started recently. This is the Small-Scale Fisheries University. Why we have the Small-Scale Fisheries University? It's an important question, and this is, as you know, the small-scale university, the small-scale fisheries fleet in the Black Sea represents around 90% of the fleet, and it has between 55 and 65% of the catches. It's really a very dependent on the weather sector, very difficult with the supply of quantities, and it has a strong social dimension and employment, which is very crucial importance for the sustainability of the coastal regions. So, in fact, the small-scale university stems from the recommendation within the regional plan of action for small-scale fisheries in the Mediterranean and in the Black Sea. And this is on the need for capacity building initiatives for small-scale fishers in these two water basins. Just to remind that the regional plan of action, there was a ministerial declaration adopted in September 2018. This was in Malta. And now the objectives of the university are to share knowledge on selected topics, to promote best practices, and facilitate learning exchanges among the fishers in the region. I will go to the other slide. So now what we have planned, it's a series of workshops and training courses for small-scale fisheries stakeholders in line with the main priorities and topics from the regional plan of action. And small-scale fishers and fish workers will be actively involved and encouraged to participate. There are workshops planned. They vary and may consist of classroom learnings, in the field experience, and peer-to-peer exchange. And you know that the main priorities in this plan of actions are, you can see on the right side of the presentation, and they are directed to broaden scientific research, to improve the small-scale fisheries data collection, to better involve small-scale fishers in the decision-making process, developing and adopting management measures. For the moment, you know, this is a real challenge for the Black Sea to have them on board in the decision-making process and in the associations, participating in different associations. One of the let's say, very delicate moments in the Black Sea is that we have associations that are mixed and some of them are barely small-scale fishermen. But the mixed associations, they have really conflicting interests, so it will be a good opportunity for them to participate. Another priority is to enhance their production on the value chain. This is linked to making small-scale fishers resilient, stronger in the competition with the industrial fleet. And there are a lot of topics to be addressed on the illegal or unreported catches as well. So to foster capacity building and participatory approach is another priority, to create decent working condition and social protection. And we can speak as well in this initiative about the strengthening of the role of women and for climate change and environment. So here, just a small history or retrospective overview. The launch of the small-scale fisheries university was in early 2020, so it's a very young initiative ongoing, and there were a couple of workshops organized with the Friends of the Small-Scale Fishers partner organizations. But as you know, in February and March, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and there was an impossibility for traveling, and some of the courses have been relaunched to be held in virtual format in late 2020, and other courses postponed to 2021. One of them, very interesting for the Black Sea, it was in the preparatory phase. This was a course addressing the way small-scale fishers how could they participate in the decision-making process. This was a course scheduled for May, but it is now postponed for 2020. I would like to draw your attention to the upcoming courses. You can see it on the screen. One of them, it's more or less directed for Mediterranean and the Black Sea countries, and it will take place simultaneously in the countries where FAO Mediterranean projects and the Black Sea for Fish project operate. This event will be hosted by national research institutes, where possible will be physically organized and held in person, or alternatively, it will be held online. During the courses and the workshops, different issues for the small-scale fishermen will be addressed, such as collaborative science, local ecological knowledge, and climate change and environmental impacts, very various agenda. It will be first session. It will be a common session between Mediterranean and the Black Sea Institutes. That will be the opening session, and then each institute will work on its own in their national language with the small-scale fishermen, which is really a very nice initiative and a challenge. This will be done, I think, now for the Black Sea. In the Black Sea, for the first time, we'll try to engage these fishermen online. So this is my very short presentation, and I thank you for your attention. I'm ready to answer questions and to have a vivid discussion on small scale. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Petrov. It's very important and nice to see the role of small-scale fisheries university. Now I would like to introduce you Mr. Marian Tudor of the Danube Delta Institute to present the DASIAT project on improving the existing competencies and developing new ones in the aquaculture and fish products trade sector. Please, Mr. Tudor.
Thank you very much. I will try now to, okay, we are here. First of all, can you hear me well?
Perfect.
Perfect, that's good. Thanks to the devices we have. First of all, I would like to kindly thank you for selecting our project, Dacia project, to be presented during this online workshop in the framework of Black Sea project on coastal and maritime tourism, maritime transport, fishery, and aquaculture. Some of our results will be about digitalization, so we'll fit in the goals of this workshop. We are We are 6 partners running this project. First, it's our Research and Development Institute, the Danube Delta National Institute. Second and third partners are also from Romania, Fishing Area Federation and the Association of Cross-Border Cooperation for Lower Danube Euro region. The fourth partner is from Greece, the region of East Macedonia and Thrace. The fifth is the Karaderis Technical University, the Faculty of Marine Sciences. And I'm taking this opportunity to say hello to our partner, because I saw that Professor Ertuğ Düzgüneş is active in this workshop today, asking questions to previous panelists. And the sixth one is the Agency of Sustainable Development of European Integration Lower Danube Euro region, Ukraine. It's a kind of correspondent agency from Romania and Ukraine, as you can see, the partner 3 and 6. Okay. We are discussing about a project which supposed to be for 24 months, but due to the situation, worldwide situation, COVID-19, caused by COVID-19, was extended to 30 months from November 2018 to May 2021. Our project aiming to strengthen the cross-border cooperation in the Black Sea by stimulating first exchange of experiences and the good practices in order to increase and develop competencies in aquaculture. We have a few specific objectives. First is to increase the knowledge in the aquaculture sector in the Black Sea cooperation area. And this is going to be achieved by the state-of-the-art analysis of the aquaculture sector in the 4 Black Sea regions, with strengths, weaknesses, challenges, and development opportunities identified during our project. The second specific objective is to increase the competencies of aquaculture business, encouraging exchange of experience, transfer of good practices, and capacity building actions. And this was achieved by implementing specific measures aiming to support cross-border learning between the countries, and also networking activities. There were supposed to be 4 study visits, and I'm saying supposed to be because due to the COVID situation, we had to postpone 2 of them so far. 20 virtual site visits and interviews with successful aquaculture entrepreneurs for the 4 countries, and also 12 workshops for entrepreneurs. I will come later with information about each of it. The third specific objective is to increase the use of information technologies in the Black Sea by creating an aquaculture virtual center of competencies. And this is where we are coming into the 4th session of this workshop. And this was set up by our partners, Fishing Area Association, as an open access web platform, which will serve as a cross-border business and logistic information exchange system. It was aimed to be specifically designed for entrepreneurs who want to upgrade their knowledge in the aquaculture sectors to develop new competencies and also to share their experience in good and also bad or problems they are facing in their activity. We have 6 kind of activities, like media projects, management, communication. I will not spend time to discuss about this. State-of-the-art analysis in the Black Sea, aquaculture, exchange of experience, aquaculture, virtual center, and the involvement of stakeholders. I will just give you some example due to the limited time we have, and because sometimes I'm overcoming the allocated time. Please let me know when I will have 2 minutes left.
You still have some time, 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. For example, the state-of-art analysis in the Black Sea aquaculture is led by our colleagues in Karadeniz Technical University, Faculty of Marine Sciences in Turkey. And the objective of this activity is to carry out an in-depth analysis on available data concerning the current situation of aquaculture in all partner territories. The result was the map of the aquaculture sector in all partner regions, including identification of all relevant documents needed to start or develop a business in the field of aquaculture, including available financial support tools like European funds for the state members, establishing a database with existing marketing strategies and sales channels in all partner regions, identification of main fish species which are profitable for aquaculture according to the main characteristic of each territory, and the identification and collection of good practices in aquaculture entrepreneurship. For the exchange of experience and capacity building, we have our colleagues from Greece leading the group. And the objective was to support the cross-border learning and networking activities. How to do that? By establishing concrete exchange of experience and promotion of good practices already identified. As a result, we will have movies with interviews in all the countries. And there are interviews with 4 to 6 entrepreneurs sharing their experience. So it was a questionnaire designed in Greece, and the entrepreneurs from the 4 countries will answer to the same questions. And when the result will be available on the site, you will see that there are very interesting different answers to the same question regarding taking into account the different situation in different countries. The Aquaculture Virtual Center will be, as I said already, established as an open access web platform. And by that will be possible to share the experience of, and I'm coming close to the end. Okay, we have the technique with us. So as a results, in conclusion, the results will be first an improved knowledge of aquaculture sector in all partners regions. Secondly, increased networking activities aimed at increasing aquaculture to small and medium enterprises capacities. The increase of the use of communication technology tools in the Black Sea cooperation area. From this point of view, was almost before the time idea, because when we started, we had no clue that this COVID time will come. But it looks that the development of this kind of tool is perfectly fits in the need of the area, but also in the restriction involved by this COVID. We have, just to conclude, we have some problems because one of our action, the meetings with entrepreneurs have to be rethink in this new perspective of COVID restriction, because what we had in mind was to put together face-to-face these entrepreneurs, which nowadays is impossible if we are following the rules. I'm coming to the end of my presentation. I hope I didn't overcome my time, and I'm looking forward to answer the question of attendees to this.
Thank you, Mr. Tudor. Actually, we are receiving a lot of questions on the sector, and I would like once more to ask the audience to feel free and ask their questions through the Q&A function. So thank you all. Now I would like to ask both Ms. Demirel and Mr. Petrov, based on current results, which could be further actions to be developed to support sustainable fishery and aquaculture in the region? Ms. Demirel, please.
Okay, thank you, Thanos. And of course, our first aim as the Black Sea for Fish project to make a good cooperation between the Black Sea countries and work together. And for the technical point, we need to enhance our scientific knowledge about the priority species data and technical assistance for the stock assessment methods to make in order to make a good contribution for the scientific knowledge of the priority species. So also we need to make dissemination activities and for the sustainable fisheries of the Black Sea priority stocks to enhance our knowledge and scientific collaboration. It's a crucial point. For aquaculture, I think my colleagues, Mr. Petrov, could answer this.
Thank you, Mr. Petrov.
Thank you. Thanks for this question. It's really important to have some future vision on the project, after the project, to analyze the results on the small-scale fisheries university initiative. I would say that this is a young one and a very promising one, with a potential to involve and catch the interest of many of the small-scale fisheries, no matter their age. And you know that the Black Sea is a very specific basin, and this segment is really characterized by its specificities. And one of the greatest challenges to engage them in the decision-making process and in the data collection, which will help really the sustainability of this segment. Of course, the small-scale fisheries university has not stopped to develop initiatives and to analyze the results, and the forthcoming results will be analyze the outcomes from these planned actions during even the COVID pandemic. Despite the sudden halt and the shock that we had at the beginning, it clearly shows that the priorities set in the action plan should be changed and achieved by means of strong regional cooperation. And now more than before, we need to continue working on this path. The Regional Fisheries Management Organization has a crucial role in this kind of initiative, and together with the other international organizations operating in the region. That's what I could say for this young initiative, that it's a promising one, and the outcomes are to come, and it is being developed even in the pandemic now with webinars online. We learned a good lesson how to act in this situation, and you see that there are 2 forthcoming webinars and I'm sure that there will be successful events. They will engage participants from the 6 Black Sea countries with their national language, which will facilitate them really to give their contribution in the discussion.
Coming on that, Mr. Pestrov, coming on that, are the sessions of the university planned to respond to Bulgarian, for example, public in Bulgarian language? Have you considered something like that?
You mean, I've just mentioned, I think that it's really a specific region. We have 6 littoral countries with 6 different languages, and the challenge is to engage all of them and to have them interested in this initiative. Exactly. And our planning is to hold a common session this is just the beginning in English, but it will be translated everything in the national language of each participant. And after that, each institute, these are national institutes that will be having this kind of discussion with their national fishermen and fisherwomen on the topics that are, let's say, interested at national level, common topics, but in national language. So we could have them engage. You know that small-scale fishers are not all of them. Not all of them have language skills, but that's why the webinars will be held in national languages. Each webinar at national level will be held in the national language. So this will facilitate the discussion and the outcomes at the end.
Thank you very much. I would like to go back to Ms. Demirel and ask a more scientific, let's say, question coming from HCMR, that they would like to ask, what are the lessons learned to utilize the alien species Rapana whelk?
Thank you, Thanos. That's a very good question. First of all, Rapa whelk has a great damage on the Black Sea ecosystem. Once it was introduced to Black Sea, it was a predator. It is a predator of black mussel, white mussel, Venus clam, and also oysters. So, and it's very successfully established itself to the Black Sea ecosystem. So it was a great predator on those species, and those local mussel species of Black Sea population gradually decreased in years. But beside its ecosystem damage, Rapa whelk has a great economic importance. So it's a very profitable species, and especially it is exported to the Far East, China, Japan, South Korea. They are the main countries that exported this species from Black Sea. So that is our main aim, to launch those scientific sea survey about Rapa whelk, because there is a big dilemma about this. Should we keep its biomass as low as possible to prevent the species damage to other species, or we should just establish maximum sustainable yield as a sustainable fisheries point? That's a great dilemma.
Thank you.
We are trying to identify this question with our
let's not go to more scientific details. It's not the purpose of this, but I wanted just to make sure that and we can think of having a similar webinar more scientifically in the future. Now I would like to go to Mr. Tudor and ask how could DACIAT contribute to include youth and women in the region on aquaculture activities, in order to keep young people and women in the country and provide further jobs?
It's easier to answer the first part of your question about inclusion of youth, because as you see, we have partners also from universities, and we involved young specialists in the activities and in the dissemination of the results of our project. Also, we were facing the involvement of young specialists in the in the fish farm we were visiting for interview. For the second part, the involvement of women, we have to admit that there were not so many specialists in the field of aquaculture we found in the farms. But there are many women involved in the scientific part, in research institutes and in universities. So from this point of view, I see like this their involvement with their women, very good skill in teaching and disseminating the results of project like DASIAT.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a last question. Going to Mr. Petrov, I would like to ask, because you referred to the new COVID-19 situation, how are you dealing with fieldwork on your university? Have you adapted new technologies, and how digitalization is coming in order to work the students in the university?
Thanks for question. This is the new technologies are even more used nowadays in this kind of situation. What we are facing, the challenge to continue our cooperation on all the issues concerning the fisheries and aquaculture in the Black Sea. So in the frame of the small-scale fisheries university, it is planned, as I mentioned during my presentation, that some of the webinars and the courses, I mean, the moderators could choose on their own. They could have a course in a physical, you know, with personal contact and physical course like webinar, but on the other way, they could choose to have it online, the webinar. Okay. This is the moderator and the participants as well. Depends on the situation and the country, of course. It's very flexible. It's very flexible, but the work is continuing. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Like that, actually, I would like to go and take the floor and go to the next session, which is very much linked to what we just discussed on digitalization. I would like to present two projects, actually not me. I would like to ask the speakers of digitalization, and I would like to welcome Mr. Bergenisvili from the Tourism Institute Georgia to present us the Tourism 4.0 for the Black Sea tourism, projects on how big data could become useful for sustainable tourism. Please, Mamuka, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thanos. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just need a second to share my screen. Do you see the screen? Everything's fine?
Yes.
Okay. So is it on full screen now as well in your desktop? Great. Thank you again. My name is Mamuka Berzenishvili. I'm Executive Director of Tourism Institute from Batumi, Georgia. As you see from the slide, the name of our project is Tourism 4.0 for the Black Sea, and it is obviously dedicated to the technologies, and namely big data analytics and high performance computers. Before I go to the details of our project, I just want to give you a small example, the real example, which we brought from the Slovenian market, and it was done last year, if I'm not mistaken, with the help of our tools, which we are testing now in the Black Sea countries. To just showcase how beneficial and a very important tool is for the tourism sustainable development. This tourism attraction in Slovenia is one of the main attractions there, with the inhabitant of 10,000 and more than 3,000 daily visitors. with the help of our tourism impact model, we normally measure hundreds of different indicators related to sustainable development of tourism in particular area. In that case, as an example, we brought out the waste produced in this particular area, total amount of waste. And we want to show you in this regard the amount of waste produced by the tourism providers, tourist service providers generally, to show you what kind of correlation is there between these two pictures, and see how normally people really perceive this kind of correlation without any data. So normally, for example, here I show you three different scenarios where tourist provider share is shown with the total amount of waste produced in that particular location. And as we see, normally in these three different scenarios, people are thinking about these three different scenarios, and they, according to their perception, one of them is the realistic one. But here I want to show you the actual picture, which shows that perception of the tourism without the data and the real picture is completely different. So that's that's why we want to show, with the help of our Tourism 4.0 tools, to show you the perception, changing the perception of the tourism, and show the possibility of big data analytics, which can lead to the sustainable development of tourism itself in the particular location. So after the example, I briefly introduced the details of our project, which is co-funded by European Commission, and it is led by 6 partners from the countries of Slovenia, Greece, Romania, Ukraine, and Georgia. It began last year and will end 2021. And general objective of our project is to demonstrate the regional stakeholders the benefit of big data analytics, also to foster the commercialization of high performance data analytics tools in the tourism, test the set of concrete Tourism 4.0 service in the Black Sea region, and stimulate the dialogue on Tourism 4.0 potential with regional and European Union stakeholders. The main result related to our thematic session is that with the innovative approach, we try to bring the technology in tourism to stimulate database strategic thinking. On the other hand, regarding the COVID-19 context and the post-COVID-19 situation, Black Sea countries could benefit from the tools of Tourism 4.0, and they can quickly assess the existing situation in their local in their local geographical areas and provide competent and quick response to local governments with the help of big data. Before I end the presentation, I'm almost done with that. I try to be as quick as possible. I just want to bring the local perspective of Georgia. As we are in the middle of our project, we really learn, and it was also a really big surprise for me as a Georgian, that we normally don't employ any big data analytical tools in the strategic planning on all levels, beginning from the national to the municipality level. On the other hand, there are some data used and analyzed on national and regional level, but as we saw now, almost in every case, we don't really use data and the big data also on the municipality level. So, for example, now we try to measure the Batumi tourism sustainable development context, but it is not really possible as it apparently the local government really does it rarely. So it means that
we see the importance of
it means that the big data analytics and particularly our tourism 4.0 project is very could be very beneficial and could be very important for our local government representatives to assess the situation on a competitive level and see the future. Yeah, that was all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's really interesting to see how big data can get included in different sectors and how to contribute also on tourism. Now I would like to
also Thanos, if I may, one more comment. I see in the question and answer section that Mrs. Paola Agostini from World Bank is asking.
Come back.
Yeah, probably. I just want to make a comment for her and for everyone. Probably our project could be one of the beneficial part to study the pollution on the Black Sea.
I will go back to this question later on. Thank you, Mamuka. Now I would like to welcome our final speaker, Mr. Rahid Anane, from Aquaculture Development, the Aquaculture Development Director at Algerian Fisheries Ministry, to present us the project New Tech Aqua, new technologies, tools, and strategies for a sustainable, resilient, and innovative European aquaculture. Please, Mr. Anane. Can you hear us? Please see, Georgia, maybe you can share the presentation. It will be easier, I guess, for Mr. Anane.
I also think Mr. Anane is muted, Thanos.
Yeah. Mr. Anane, can you hear us?
Okay, yes.
Okay. Maybe it's, I understand that you are on your mobile, so I don't know if it's better for Georgia to share the presentation. Can you hear us at least, no?
Now is okay? Now it's okay?
Yeah, perfect. Please.
Okay. Now it's okay. I am Rashid Anane, Aquaculture Development Director at Fisheries Ministry in Algeria. I am the member in the Mediterranean Board of New Tech Aqua from North Africa partner in this project for dissemination of output of project. I will present the New Tech Aqua. About the project, the New Tech Aqua is a European project with 6.7 million euro of it, and with 5.9 euro contribution of Union European. The New Tech project Aqua is have 26 partners from 9 countries, but with 8 from Union European and 1 another countries. Duration of a project is 4 years. Start date is 1 of January 2020. Since only 9 months. The general objective and the aims of this project, NATEC Aqua's main goal is to expand and diversify European aquaculture production of finfish, mollusks, and microalgae shrimps by developing and validating the technologically advanced, resilient, and sustainable application. The organizational approach of NewTech Aqua is to group the new application in 6 different categories: feed, industry 4.0, sustainable farming, genetic, new species, and new product. The project strategy is on 4 axes and 6 solution, integrated solution. The axis is 1, industrial innovation with new application, use a new application to develop the industrial aquaculture innovation. 2, solution integration to evaluate impact that economical, social, and environmental. The 3, the result capitalization to exploit the achieved result, that dissemination in the Union European countries and other countries that North Africa and Middle East and Black Sea countries. For education and outreach to increase general consortiums and produced innovation. This strategy is to integrate solution for new aquaculture that use 6 main solution. 1 is the farming, developing the farming systems that biofloc, RAS system, and other. Industry 4.0 for digitalization of aquaculture. 3, to development the feed that the bio feed with good health and 0 waste. Another is the development genetic for species to improve the reproduction system and the growth cycle, and another genetic aspect. A new species to introduce new species and work on the new species in finfish and shellfish, that, for example, mager and sole. And the new using the new productive system. We have 3 innovative sets of aquafeed for feed. Each is specific uses for poor health, organic, 0 waste, to try to replace the fish meals with another healthy and organic component to improve the quality of feed, to achieve the 0 waste and decrease the risk on the on pollution and environment. Monitoring system will aggregate and combine spatio-temporal information that using the big data in dynamic complex for statistical and artificial intelligence model for disease prediction and health management. the welfare indicators, and microbial analysis used to evaluate the impact of different rearing system that we want to improve and introduce a new production system that RAS, biofloc technology, aquaponic, and another system on fish condition.
1 minute more, please, Mr. Anand.
Yes?
Just 1 minute more.
Okay, I will finish. Satellite imagery by the development and validation of bioresources for supporting the shellfish industry, that we can control the concentration of microalgae and phytoplankton to select the good area for shellfish production. Innovative breeding program to improve performance and robustness and quality of farmed for fish, mollusk, and different and microalgae, and using the different genomic method. Enhanced the how now to the productive aquaculture, and finally developing the innovative high quality seafood product.
Thank you. Yeah, we see how digitalization and new technology can play.
For attention. For any question and any another information, you can contact the project coordinator, Mr. Professor Alessio Bonaldo at Bologna University, and his email in the presentation. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting to see how digitalization and new technologies can play an actual role also on aquaculture. Now I would like to have a question for both of you, actually, and ask, in your experience, how digitalization, in order to be more concrete, can be enabled for sustainable development. Which are the gaps that we can still be addressed?
Yes. Digitalization, we have two main goals and application for this digitalization of aquaculture. One, we can use the imagery satellite to select the good areas for shellfish that can check the phytoplankton concentration. The second, we can use the big data analysis to can improve the product system to now the health systems to solve disease problems and improve the production system.
Okay, Mamuka.
Yeah, so there are like a lot of gaps, especially in providing the feedback of tourism impact on the local economic environment. So normally local government use the traditional statistical methodology without the technology employment in it. So it takes a time. It is really kind of outdated and gives you the results almost after a year to measure overall performance of the destination in particular year. So this does not really give us the chance to see the possibility to see what is going, for example, in Batumi now in this particular time. And whenever we are able to see the dates, it is already late. And in this constantly changing environment, especially in tourism, which is very broad and linked to all of almost all of economic activities, is really not enough to make the data-driven decisions and make quick and relevant decisions on the municipal level.
Mamuka, on that, can you maybe give us some example of Tourism 4.0, some project deliverables that are linked to blue growth?
Yeah, so it's Tourism 4.0 measures a lot of environmental indicators. I would say, if I'm not mistaken, it is like maybe 20 to 30 indicators. Like we already showed waste production, bathing water quality, drinking water quality, sewage system performance, and everything linked to the environment and the Black Sea especially. So with the help of the tools, we really see how tourism flows and tourists actually and the tourist service providers are influencing on local environment and particularly on the Black Sea, as we are seaside resort.
Okay, thank you very much. And actually, I will take the pass now that you are discussing about marine environment and pollution. And I understand and I will know that all sectors, fisheries, aquaculture, tourism, all need to rely on clean and not polluted Black Sea. And I would like to open the floor to anybody of our speakers. If there is any discussion or specific discussion on specific project or a combination of projects to create synergies to combat pollution. Please, if whoever wants from the speakers to take the floor.
I'll just repeat myself for a second because as I mentioned before, we are measuring dozens of environmental points. So it will be probably very helpful for the World Bank as well, as they are combating pollution. So there might be some touching points.
Of course, because digitalization can have a more horizontal, let's say, approach. But I would like to hear also from the other sectors, maybe. Anybody that would like to take the floor here? Okay. I would like to come back a little bit on the tourism sector, and maybe I would like to address Florentina that we discussed on the Treasure project. We still have Florentina with us, I understand. And I would like to ask her how much they are considering to combine cultural heritage tourism with yacht tourism. And if you have considered any specific combination as a project on that, or creating interactive maps that would enforce and enhance yacht tourism in the region, or small cruises.
Hold on just a second. Can you please repeat the question? I have a bad microphone.
Please mute all. Yes, okay. I would like just to come back, as I said, and ask if you have considered to combine with cultural heritage tourism, yacht tourism, and because we think that yacht tourism or small cruise tourism can be an interesting sector in the region, and if you have considered this on your plans on cultural heritage to combine with yacht tourism.
We did not consider it yet, but taking into consideration all the aspects, probably we will start thinking on this approach as well. Especially that three partners that are involved in these archaeological underwater activities, Turkey, Romania, and Bulgaria, have a very great potential, touristic potential. And yes, it is necessary to take it under consideration.
Maybe Ms. Atanasova from the municipality could have something to say on that. How it will consider maybe yacht tourism in developing sustainable cultural tourism.
Excuse me, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, as I said, how you consider maybe yacht tourism and what are, let's say, the next steps that you could consider using yacht tourism or small cruise shipping in your region for tourism sector?
We haven't considered that yet, but
Okay.
we might in future.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe our next step is going to be to present the tourism around our city. I'm talking about my city now, as we are the leading partner, and maybe around the other cities, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think it's time now to wrap up and have a closing. I think that we somehow achieved what we had as an overall aim of the workshop, which was to collect best practices, gaps, and key elements of the projects. And maybe through this discussion, have new opportunities have arisen, and we can think of further synergies in the future. And such initiatives like the one organized today by DG MARE, BSEC PERMIS, and ICBSS are promoting these synergies and enhance the regional perspective. Going back to each sector, I understand, and as we discussed mainly for tourism, we see how important and how significant can become new technology and how significant is for innovative tourism. Actually, new technologies and digitalization, as I said before, as an horizontal, let's say, sector could become very valuable for tourism, and having also in mind how much could this take benefit and importance of integrated coastal zone management and maritime spatial planning in order to, and how we can use toolkits for data collection in order to organize them. Actually, co-evolve, the project that was presented before from another sea basin, very good, let's say, best practice that we can consider in the region. On the other side, it's very important, of course, to improve and share knowledge in the region, but also small-scale investments and new technologies could become and benefit business growth, of course, which is very important for new job opportunities. On maritime transport, we understood how important it is to enhance the capacity to implement international and EU maritime safety standards, and also how important is sharing information in order to monitor vessels and the use of satellites and new technologies in order to support safety. Of course, it's very important, and we should keep in mind other activities that are taking place in other sea basins, like the technical group on green shipping that, as Mr. Bocci mentioned, is very important to bring forward the importance of ports on maritime transport and for decarbonization, and very important to keep in mind to create these energy communities where ports can act as major hubs. Of course, further investments on decarbonization and renewable future in renewable fuels we can think in the future. Going to the fishery sector, fisheries and aquaculture, again, it's important to understand that there are a lot of ongoing projects on for capacity building and give training opportunities. It's very important here to disseminate the project results and the importance also of creating database of fish stock in order to enhance the scientific scientific knowledge, and like that we can create further synergies. Of course, it was really interesting to hear from the small-scale fisheries university that actions that are taking place in the region and have a lot of potentials in the future to share knowledge, promote best practices, and facilitate exchanges in the region. Also, very important to understand the importance of youth and how youth could be further engaged in all these actions, and also taking as an example DASIAT project that are linked with environmental aspects and how to exchange experiences on good practices and develop competencies and strengthen always the cross-border collaboration. On all this, actually, it's important player, as I said, the new technologies, innovation tools, applications, so the digitalization and big data use and to manage big data is very important, because like that we can use new models in order to predict future actions. And actually at this moment with the COVID-19, I think it's very important to further develop this kind of applications. That was from my side. I don't know if we can see any further questions. Maybe not at this stage. I think I would like to thank you all once more. It was a really interesting meeting. Hopefully in the future we will have more on other sectors, but always under the Common Maritime Agenda in the Black Sea region. And it was a fruitful discussion that will be used, all the outcomes, for the steering committee in about a week for discussion on new flagship project. Thank you very much, all of you, and have a nice day and take care. Please, before closing, I would like to give the floor, sorry for that, to Ms. Bussolini from DG MARE. She would like to say a few words. Please, Patricia.
Hello, good morning to everybody. I don't know if you can see me. Can you see me?
Not
yet.
Not yet.
But you can hear me.
Yes,
okay.
Very well.
I guess the video will follow as well. Well, first of all, I would like really to thank you, Thanos, for the perfect moderation and for the excellent wrap up of what we have discussed. Speaking of which, I would only like to add for concerning the last session on digitalization, what it has emerged at the big data analytics can provide a really huge support related to sustainability concerning the issue of sustainability of tourism. But of course, big data is also applicable to any other sector that has also an important role in terms of anticipatory policies and following actions. So I would really like to thank BSEC and ICBSS for organizing with DG MARE this webinar. I would also like to thank the European External Action Service, the CPMR, and the CBC Black Sea program, because they contributed to the organization and to identification of projects for this seminar. I also would like to thank all the participants and also the Common Maritime Agenda country representatives that I have seen that many of them are attending the meeting. So I hope that was be useful, and we will discuss this further during the third steering group of the Common Maritime Agenda. I would also like, of course, to thank all the participants for their contribution with the questions and comments and so forth, because this was exactly the objective of this webinar. We didn't want to organize a webinar where there is a flow of project presentations, but we wanted also to have an exchange with the stakeholder. As my Deputy Head of Unit, Isabelle Vialon, has mentioned this morning, indeed, and also as some of the project partners have highlighted during their presentation, indeed the stakeholder involvement is a key cross-cutting aspect. So we try to facilitate it. And in the end of November, we will have a Black Sea stakeholder event, which is organized by the Common Maritime Agenda, in particular the 2020 Bulgarian coordination of the Common Maritime Agenda. So we really invite you there. We wait for you there with your comments and support and contributions. I would like to close this webinar mentioning that the key, in addition to all the points, wrapping up points that Thanos has perfectly put together for us, I would like also to mention that what I retain from this webinar is really that there is a big need for supporting further best exchange of best practices, networking. So again, the importance of the regional dimension to support this need is fundamental. So this is very important. This is what the Common Maritime Agenda, which is together with SRIA, a unique framework of regional cooperation in the area. This is what these frameworks are there for, to support concrete development at regional level of initiative that can enhance the socio-economic and sustainable blue economy in the blue sectors in the Black Sea. And so I really thank you also from the DG MARE EU Commission side for your participation and contribution. And we really hope to see you during the next stakeholder event by end of November and in the other webinars that we will be organizing. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you, Patricia. It was a pleasure to have you all, and I think we will have more opportunities in the near future to discuss further synergies and how we can make projects in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Thanos, for all.
Thank you.
Thank you to all. Bye. Have a good day.